Welcome back, spirit warriors. They buried you in shadows thinking the darkness would break you, but they forgot one vital truth. You were born of fire, not light. And fire doesn't need the sun to rise. While they danced in celebration of your silence, what they didn't realize was that silence is sacred ground. It's in the stillness, the quiet void, where God forges his strongest warriors, far from the spotlight, deep within dimensions they can't even perceive, let alone access. Let that sink in. You see, the chosen ones aren't like everyone else. We don't just rise, we resurrect. Our path is never mainstream, never applauded at first glance. We emerge after long seasons of invisibility, where nothing seems to move on the surface, yet everything is shifting below. These are the silent years, the spiritual surgeries, the pruning seasons, and the divine delays. It's the hidden training ground where God strips away what is weak to uncover what is unshakable. To the world, it may have looked like stagnation, but in heaven's eyes, it was sacred preparation. You weren't being punished. You were being positioned. Like the mighty redwoods of California, your roots were being forced deep into the soil, not because you were failing, but because you were being prepared to weather storms that haven't even been born yet. These trees withstand fires, floods, and centuries because their foundation runs deeper than the eye can see. That's you, anchored, not abandoned. Let's talk bamboo for a moment. One of nature's most extraordinary miracles, bamboo can spend up to 5 years underground with no visible sign of growth. People think it's not working, not moving, and not growing, but in reality it's forming a root system so expansive that when it finally breaks the surface, it can shoot up over 90 feet in just weeks. Why? Because it wasn't slow, it was sacred, it wasn't late, it was on divine schedule. That's not just a metaphor, that's biology backing up your breakthrough. And here you are, right now. No more waiting, no more shrinking, no more apologizing for your delay. Because what the world calls a delay, heaven calls divine timing. You are the prophecy they forgot to factor in. You were hidden, not because you were small, but because your arrival needed to be seismic. When you rise, it won't just be growth, it'll be eruption, a disruption to the status quo, a declaration that what was dismissed is now divinely endorsed. What they tried to curse, sabotage, or silence is now carrying favor so potent it's disorienting your enemies. Your silence wasn't weakness, it was sacred gestation. And now heaven is announcing your emergence with trumpet-like authority. This is not the comeback they expected, it's the revelation they feared. So when they ask, how did you survive that betrayal, that heartbreak, that wilderness season? You'll simply smile. Not with ego, but with divine clarity, because the answer isn't found in strategy, it's rooted in identity. You didn't survive because of what you did, you survived because of who you are. A chosen one, fireborn, spirit-forged. And in this video, we're not just revisiting the pain, we're unlocking the plan. The divine blueprint behind every no, every closed door, every detour that secretly directed you into your destiny. Stay with me. Because what's coming next isn't just a rebound or a recovery, it's a revelation of why it all had to happen the way it did. Let's begin. Point 1. The divine stamp of approval. You are a chosen one, my fearless spirit. Warriors, the first thing we need to shatter, like a sword slicing through illusion, is the idea that your existence is random. It's not. You are not a cosmic afterthought or a spiritual bench warmer waiting for your moment. You were handpicked, divinely initiated, and spiritually briefed long before you ever took your first breath on this earth. From the moment your soul slipped into this body, a silent bell rang in the spiritual realms. A warrior has arrived. You didn't get here because you lucked out. You were sent, on assignment. No accident, no coincidence, divine precision. The day you were born, the universe didn't toss dice. It encoded you with purpose. DNA, sure, but also DPA. Divine purpose activation. That quiet sense of, I don't quite fit in, you've always felt. That wasn't rejection, it was redirection. You weren't designed to fit into broken systems. You were born to realign them. Spirit warriors don't beg for access, they are the access. Your presence is a portal, your voice is a vibration, your walk is a frequency. And when you start operating from that truth, everything changes. And here's the key thing. You're not a spiritual amateur out here trying to get good enough. That's ego talk. That's the wounded self trying to hustle for divine approval that's already been granted. You are not a hopeful applicant in the spiritual realm. You're already hired, trained, certified, and promoted. You're not trying to earn your place. You are the place. You are the container heaven has poured its wisdom into. You're not guessing your way through the dark. You're being led by a compass no one else can see. Trust it. That's your inner GPS, God positioning system. When spirit warriors enter a room, the energy shifts, not because you tried to dominate, but because your presence radiates truth. And truth by nature exposes lies. People feel that, and let's be real, it makes some of them uncomfortable. That's not your problem, that's your power. Your authenticity calls out their masks. Your healing energy irritates their unhealed wounds. Your clarity reveals their confusion. That's why they stare, that's why they whisper, that's why they sometimes avoid you or obsess over you, because you mirror what they've buried. Let me hit you with some facts. Neurologically, when someone walks in with deep-rooted confidence, it activates mirror neurons in others, which cause them to instinctively mimic or react. That's why some people get hostile around you for no reason. You didn't offend them, you activated them. You triggered a spiritual discomfort they didn't want to deal with, and spirit warriors don't back down just because someone else is spiritually congested. We breathe freely, we walk boldly, we keep going, so next time you feel yourself shrinking in a room because others can't handle your light, pause. Realize what's actually happening. Your light is doing its job. You're not supposed to blend in. You're supposed to stand out and wake others up. And when that inner voice whispers, "You're not ready," you remind it, "I was chosen." The very fact that I'm still standing is proof that I'm qualified. Now let's end this with absolute clarity. Spirit warriors are not people who have it all figured out. We still feel pain. We still face tests. But we know who we are. We don't walk in arrogance. We walk in alignment. And in a world drunk on distraction, your clarity is rebellion. Your peace is warfare. Your presence is prophecy. So go ahead and show up fully. Walk in rooms like you were sent, because you were. Heaven doesn't waste time on accidents, only assignments. And baby, you're one of the boldest. Point 2, the illusion of lack, the but is a lie. Spirit warriors, gather close, because this right here, this is about to flip your entire reality. We've been sold a spiritual scam. Since childhood, society's been whispering one sly, poisonous word into our subconscious. But it sounds innocent enough, right? I'd be joyful, but things are hard. I'd chase my dream, but I don't have the time. I'd love myself, but I'm not there yet. See, that but is the devil in disguise. It's the dusty old curtain behind the illusion, the sleight of hand in the spiritual magician's act. It gives the illusion of logic while feeding the spirit a lie. That one little word is the glue that holds every limiting belief together. Now here's the twist, that but was never yours. It was implanted. You inherited it from fear-based systems, from schools that graded your worth, from families who loved with conditions, and from cultures that taught lack before love. It's not your soul talking when you use but. That's the ego trying to micromanage your miracles. That's your unhealed story begging to be in charge. But spirit warriors, warriors of light, of fire, of faith, your soul knows better. Your soul doesn't speak in buts. It speaks in alignment, and alignment says there is no shortage in God's economy. Here's what most people don't realize. The moment you insert but into a declaration, you slice your power in half. You dilute your energy. You're basically telling the universe, "Hey, I want this thing, but not really." And the universe, which is always listening, replies, "Cool, we'll wait." Not because it's punishing you, but because the energy you're emitting says hesitation, not faith. But when you flip that narrative from but to and, baby, that's when the floodgates crack open. You stop negotiating with lack and start partnering with abundance. Try this on. I am joyful and learning through challenges. I am powerful and still becoming. I am worthy and figuring it out along the way. Do you feel the shift? That little switch from but to and tells the universe, I'm ready to expand. It's not a contradiction, it's a spiritual declaration that duality can exist and you're not afraid of it. Science even backs this up. In cognitive behavioral psychology, the words we use literally rewire our brain. Words like but reinforce conflict and limitation and introduces inclusion and possibility. It expands neural pathways rather than restricts them. So this isn't just spiritual fluff, it's neuroscience. You're not just affirming, you're reprogramming your entire consciousness. And let's not forget what the ancient texts say. In the kingdom of heaven, lack does not exist. Jesus didn't say, you will have life, but only if conditions are perfect. No, he said, I came that they may have life and have it more abundantly, period. End of sentence. There's no footnote, no asterisk, no cosmic exception clause. He didn't come to give you life, but he came to give you life and more than enough. So rip down that imaginary wall you've built with but. Tear it down brick by brick. Every but you utter adds another layer of separation between you and the river of blessings trying to reach you. Don't block your flow with excuses disguised as facts. But is the mind's excuse and is the soul's permission. From now on, walk like an heir. Speak like a king. Declare yourself like the miracle you are. Replace every but with and watch how fast the universe rushes in to meet your new language. You are already chosen, already called, and already equipped, and your blessings are already yours. Now act like it. Point 3, the power of thank you. Gratitude as a declaration of victory. This is where the real alchemy begins. Spirit warrior. Gratitude isn't some soft, fluffy emotion you slap onto your day like whipped cream on coffee. No, it's an ancient technology, a sacred frequency that shifts timelines. When you activate gratitude, especially before you physically receive what you've been praying for, you're not daydreaming. You're tapping into spiritual authority. You're no longer asking like a beggar, you're thanking like a commander of divine realms. Here's the truth, the universe doesn't respond to desperation, it responds to alignment, and gratitude is the frequency that says, I am already aligned, I already have. That's not just poetic fluff, it's quantum mechanics. According to studies in neuroscience, gratitude literally rewires your brain. It activates the hypothalamus, boosts dopamine, and floods your nervous system with a cocktail of peace, clarity, and joy. You become magnetic, calm, focused, and from that state, miracles happen. Think of it like sending a spiritual text message that says, hey God, thank you for the blessing, it's already here. I signed for the delivery before the package even hit my doorstep. It may sound wild to some, but faith works like that. In fact, it only works like that. Hebrews 11:1 says, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So when you say thank you before you see it, you're not being delusional. You're being divinely logical. You're not faking it till you make it. You're faithing it till it manifests. Because spirit warriors don't sit around hoping, we know. And when you know, your gratitude carries weight. It's not surface level, it's soul deep. Every thank you becomes a drumbeat in the spiritual realm, sending shockwaves through obstacles and timelines that once tried to delay you. And here's the kicker. The more you thank God for what's already yours, the faster it arrives. Not because you're manipulating the divine, but because you've proven you're ready to receive. Gratitude shows you've graduated from why me to yes me, from is it possible to it's already done. Ever notice how some people can pray endlessly and nothing moves? That's because they're praying from a place of fear or lack. But when you wrap that prayer in gratitude, it morphs into a command. Spirit listens, the ancestors nod, the angels get moving. You're not just hoping anymore, you're anchoring heaven into earth. That's the magic, that's the divine cheat code. Gratitude is not passive, it's a spiritual action. It's the moment when you stop chasing and start attracting. It's where hustle turns to harmony, where resistance melts into receiving. So, spirit warrior, when you get up tomorrow morning and say, thank you for the opportunities, the healing, the peace, and the divine connections already on their way, you're not just being positive, you're being powerful. You're saying, I trust the source more than I trust the circumstance. I don't need to see it to know it's mine. And trust me, that kind of power, that kind of thankfulness that knows instead of wishes, it echoes through every realm, cracks open doors you didn't even knock on, and pulls miracles from invisible dimensions right into your lap. You're not manifesting from scratch. You're reclaiming what's already been written in your name. So give thanks, loudly, softly, daily, before the evidence shows up. That's how spirit warriors move. That's how you unlock heaven on earth. Point 4, the surrender shuffle, letting go to let God. Sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do, spirit warrior, is absolutely nothing. Sounds counterintuitive, right? Especially when the world screams at us to hustle, to grind, to manifest harder, to do more. But here's the truth, you are not here to force your destiny. You are here to align with it. And alignment doesn't come from control, it comes from surrender. See, many of us on the spiritual path, especially those who have been through a lot, become type A spiritual control freaks without even realizing it. We try to co-create with the universe, but end up micromanaging the entire process like a cosmic helicopter parent. We say, I trust the universe, but then immediately check if our manifestation is working like Amazon Prime. Hey Spirit, it's been 2 days, where's my miracle? We set intentions at 11:11, burn sage at full moons, and script our future down to the exact date our soulmate should arrive. And when it doesn't happen on our timeline, we panic. Sound familiar? But here's the divine slap of truth. The universe has better GPS than you do. You don't need to know every turn. You don't even need to see the final destination. Your only job is to get in the car, buckle up, and trust the route, even when there's fog, even when there's silence, even when your ego screams for a shortcut. Surrender is not weakness. It's not passivity. It's not saying, I don't care. It's saying, I do care, enough to stop trying to control everything I don't fully understand. Spiritually, surrender is one of the highest forms of trust. In Taoist philosophy, they call it Wu Wei, the art of effortless action. The idea that nature doesn't force the seasons and yet the flowers still bloom. You've never seen an oak tree stress over whether it'll become a tree or not. It just is. And that's the kind of effortless knowing you're being called into, spirit warrior. The truth is, the more you try to control your manifestations, the more resistance you create. It's like clutching sand. The tighter you squeeze, the faster it slips through your fingers. But when you open your hand, the sand rests peacefully in your palm. That's how divine energy works. It flows where there is space, not tension. And here's the science to back it up. Your nervous system plays a huge role in your ability to manifest. When you're anxious, tense, or constantly checking on your goals, you activate the sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight. But when you surrender, breathe, and trust, you engage the parasympathetic system, rest and receive. Manifestation happens in the rest, not in the panic. Your calm state tells the universe, I trust you, I know it's already mine. So next time you're tempted to force it, to text first, to chase the job, to obsess over the outcome, pause, get still. Remember, you are not behind. You are not late. You are in divine timing. Your spirit team hasn't abandoned you. They're working behind the scenes, orchestrating connections, aligning timelines, and clearing the path. Just because you don't see the seed growing doesn't mean it isn't sprouting underground. Surrendering is choosing peace over panic. It's saying, okay, God, you got this. And that sentence right there, that's where miracles begin. Because when you stop trying to be the planner, the protector, the provider of every single outcome, you allow space for the universe to show up and do what it does best. Blow your mind. Spirit warrior, the peace you seek isn't coming. It's already here. It's in the silence. It's in the breath. It's in the moment you stop pushing and start trusting. So breathe, relax your shoulders, unclench your jaw, and say it with me, I surrender. Because sometimes the most powerful action is no action at all. Point 5, the inner win. The victory is in your mind. The most significant battle you will ever fight isn't the one for your paycheck, your position, or your partner. It's the one waged silently, relentlessly, in the 6 inches of space between your ears. Yes, your mind. That is the ultimate battlefield. And the spoils of war. Your peace, your purpose, and your power. The truth is, you can gain the world and still lose the war if your inner world is ruled by fear, doubt, and limiting beliefs. The enemy isn't always out there. Sometimes it whispers inside, and until you reclaim your mental territory, your external wins will feel hollow. Spirit warriors don't just fight in the physical, we conquer in the unseen. Let's break it down like this. Your mind is either your prison or your palace. What you allow to dominate your thoughts will shape the entire architecture of your reality. You might be standing in front of opportunity, dripping with talent, bursting with potential. But if your mind is cluttered with self-defeat, you'll sabotage your own rise. You won't even knock on the door, let alone walk through it. Why? Because deep down you don't believe you're worthy to be there. And that right there is how the real war is lost. Science backs it too. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, one of the most effective therapeutic models, is built entirely on the idea that your thoughts shape your feelings, which shape your behaviors. Change the thought, you change the outcome. Spiritual wisdom knew this long before psychology caught up. Proverbs 23:7 says, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." That's not a metaphor, it's a formula. It means your inner declarations carry more power than external circumstances. Say, I am, and heaven listens. Say, I can't, and you've already surrendered. The world teaches you to chase the trophy, the car, the house, the title. But the kingdom teaches that the real prize is inner dominion. That moment when you wake up and say, I'm not negotiating with fear today. When you decide that anxiety doesn't get to sit in your driver's seat, that is the win. And when you step into that mindset, everything else starts to bend in your favor. Because the outer world is simply a reflection of the inner. The mirror doesn't lie, it multiplies. What's wild is that when you truly decorate your mind with victory, with peace, with truth, with bold identity, you don't even need to force outcomes. Things start to align. People notice the shift. Doors open, not because you're chasing them down, but because they recognize the authority in your energy. That's not magic. That's mental and spiritual alignment. Your thoughts become magnetic. Your presence starts preaching before your mouth even opens. And when your thoughts echo heaven, hell gets nervous. But make no mistake, this battle is daily. The mind is like a garden. If you don't plant truth, weeds of doubt and fear will grow by default. That's why the spirit warrior stays armored, meditating on truth, guarding the gates, and replacing every lie with "it is written." Because once your thoughts submit to truth, your life follows suit. You stop reacting like a slave to circumstances and start responding like a soldier who already knows the war is won. So today I challenge you, don't just fight the world, win within. Look at your thoughts and ask, are these fit for a throne or a cage? Because the power is already yours. The crown is already sized for your head. All that's left is to think like royalty. Victory doesn't shout, it thinks differently. And you, spirit warrior, are already on the winning side. Now decorate your mind like it. Point 6, the quote that changes everything. As the great spiritual teacher Neville Goddard once said, the rich man is not the one who has, he is the one who believes he has. That one quote? It's not just something pretty to toss into your manifestation journal and feel momentarily inspired by. It's a blueprint, no, a weapon, a timeless spiritual principle disguised as a modern affirmation. It whispers the ancient truth that reality is not something we observe from the outside in, but something we create from the inside out. And for the spirit warrior, yes, you, that truth is more than poetic, it's strategic. In a world drowning in doubt and anxiety, this principle stands tall like a sword in the stone, waiting for the one with enough inner certainty to pull it out. Faith, then, isn't a passive comfort. It's not about lighting a candle and hoping the universe notices. It's a spiritual technology, a divine tool that reshapes your life when used with confidence. Faith, in its purest form, is action disguised as belief. Let's unpack this deeper. And let's get scientific while we're at it, because this isn't just fluffy spiritual talk, it's physics, it's quantum mechanics. When you believe something is already yours, you emit a frequency, a vibrational pattern that matches the outcome you're envisioning. Think of your brain as a broadcasting tower and your thoughts as the signal. When your mind aligns with belief, it sends out energy patterns that influence your environment. This is not mysticism for the sake of mysticism. It's rooted in the understanding of neuroplasticity. Studies show that the human brain literally rewires itself based on repeated thought and belief. The more you operate from a mindset of already having, the more your brain creates new neural pathways that support behaviors, decisions, and actions aligned with that belief. You're not operating from lack anymore. You're no longer making desperate moves hoping for validation or a breakthrough. You're already there. And because your mind thinks it's real, your actions follow. Your subconscious starts doing the heavy lifting, subtly guiding your behavior toward opportunities, people, and circumstances that mirror your internal state. Now let's talk energy. Every emotion, thought, and belief has a frequency. Gratitude, love, and faith vibrate at higher frequencies than fear, doubt, or desperation. When you dwell in belief, you raise your vibrational state. And according to the law of resonance, you attract things vibrating at that same frequency. That's why when you move from faith, people treat you differently. Doors open that used to stay shut. Solutions appear before problems even fully form. Why? Because you're no longer acting like someone chasing a dream. You're acting like someone living in a reality. And that changes everything. This is not delusion. This is spiritual mastery. Look at history's visionaries, Martin Luther King Jr., Nikola Tesla, and Walt Disney. They didn't wish things into existence, they, them. They believed in the invisible so deeply that reality had no choice but to catch up. That's the Goddard way. You don't manifest by hoping, you manifest by assuming the end is already true. That's why he taught to live in the end, to pray not out of fear or desperation, but from the vibration of completion. Most people pray like beggars. They plead, they negotiate. But the spirit warrior prays like a king, like someone already seated at the table. You're not outside the palace knocking on the gates. You're already inside, writing laws and giving thanks. And it's not just about the spiritual language, it's about your posture, the way you walk, the way you speak. When you shift from, I hope I get the job, to, I'm preparing to succeed at this job, everything shifts. Your energy becomes magnetic. You don't need to chase people or force outcomes. You become the outcome. Your life becomes a field of resonance that draws in exactly what you already believed was yours. That's not arrogance, that's alignment. So, spirit warrior, hear this clearly. Your mind is not a cage, it's a workshop, and belief is the hammer. You're not bound by the circumstances around you. You're governed by the state within you. The world will always reflect your dominant belief system. If you believe you are unseen, you'll be overlooked. If you believe you're blessed, you'll begin to witness blessings where others see chaos. That's not magic. That's divine law in action. The next time you pray, don't come with a spirit of lack. Don't say, please bless me with peace. Say, thank you for the peace that already fills my soul. That shift alone elevates your frequency and rewrites the code of your reality. Don't walk into rooms like you're hoping to be chosen. Walk in like you already know you belong, not because you're faking it, but because spiritually you've already claimed it. This is the path of the spirit warrior. You don't conquer with ego. You conquer with embodiment. You don't wait for the world to catch up. You set the pace. And when you believe it's done, the universe must obey. Because faith isn't passive, it's causative. It doesn't just comfort, it commands. So move like it's already yours, speak like it's already yours, and pray like it's already done. And then watch how fast the world scrambles to keep up. Point 7, the final call to action, live from the end. Let's go deep, chosen one. Let's talk about something most people feel but can't quite name. See, your presence, your divinely crafted presence, isn't just noticed, it's felt. There's a sacred frequency that walks ahead of you, announcing your spirit before you even speak. And the wildest part, you're not doing anything on purpose. You're just being you, and that alone, it shakes things. You walk into a room and suddenly the temperature changes. People fidget. They laugh nervously. They avoid eye contact. Why? Because your very existence becomes a mirror, one that reflects what others are running from within themselves. When you carry light, it doesn't just illuminate the room. It exposes the cobwebs. Your youthful spirit, your untamed joy, your calm strength, these aren't just traits. They're tools used by the divine to stir hearts, trigger awakenings, and yes, provoke demons. Here's a little psychology for you. Humans project what they haven't processed. That's why some folks start hating you before even getting to know you. Carl Jung called it the shadow self, those parts of us we suppress. When they see you, radiant and unapologetic, it activates their shadows. Their insecurities, their envy, their guilt for all the dreams they gave up on. And instead of facing that, they lash out, they gossip, they throw shade. Because it's easier to try to dim your light than to confront why they dimmed their own. Do you ever wonder why people tried to play you like you were weak, like you didn't know what was happening behind the scenes, like you wouldn't catch on? It's because you carry soft power. And soft power confuses people who only understand domination. You're not loud, but you're powerful. You don't fight for attention, yet you magnetize it. You don't beg to be chosen, because you are the chosen. And that right there flips the script. See, you're not just nice. You're scared. There's a difference. Nice can be manipulated. Nice seeks approval, but sacred is rooted. Sacred is grounded. Sacred doesn't flinch when disrespected. It silences the room with a single glance. That's why your boundaries feel like violence to people who expected access to your energy without earning it. They tried to sabotage you not because you were doing something wrong, but because you were doing everything right. You reminded them of their potential, their calling, their light, and that reminder hurt. So instead of rising with you, they tried to pull you down. But chosen one, listen closely. You weren't sent here to be liked. You weren't even sent here to be understood. You were sent here to awaken. Your mere existence is an alarm clock to the sleeping souls around you. And alarms, they're loud, they're disruptive, they're not comfortable, but they're necessary. So let them talk, let them twist your story. Let them roll their eyes when you walk in, blessed, peaceful, and unbothered, because deep down, they know the truth. Your glow isn't fake, your joy isn't performative, your strength isn't borrowed, it's earned through fires they'll never understand, through heartbreaks you never publicized, through storms that should have swallowed you but only sharpened you instead. You are the proof that it's possible to stay kind in a cruel world, to walk in purity in a polluted society, to remain soft in a culture that rewards hardness. And because of that, you'll always stand out, always trigger people, always be too much for the ones hiding too little. But don't shrink, chosen one. You weren't made to fit in, you were made to remind people of what's real, of what's possible, of what God can do through someone who refuses to be broken. Stay sacred, stay unshaken, stay chosen. So as we bring this journey to a close, remember this one powerful truth. The quest is not to find something outside of yourself, but to realize what has been within you all along. The holy grail of your desires isn't waiting for you at the end of a long, painful road. It's the water bottle you've been carrying the whole time. Your victory isn't a future event, it's a present reality. The blessings, the peace, the abundance, it's already yours. All you have to do is accept it, believe it, and live it. Stop striving and start thriving. The game is won. Now go, enjoy the victory.